largemouth. Pretty nice chunk out there. We're not going to catch nearly as large a fish up here. I'm fishing Silverton Lake. I had to think just a minute what the sign said. We're just driving down the side of the road, and saw a sign said Silverton Lake. Looked out there and there was two boat trailers here. And this looks like it's only about a 50 or 60 acre lake. And I thought, man, 2 boat trailers on a 50 or 60 acre lake, this thing must be pretty good. So we stopped and put our boat in here. And we haven't started the big motor. We launched. It's got a public launch ramp back there. Silverton Lake is in Minnesota. It's got a public launch ramp back there. And actually a concrete launch ramp. Concrete doesn't go down very far, just a little ways, and it turns into dirt. And I missed another fish that I thought was a bass. So it might not have been a bass, because we'll probably catch some pike. May catch some rock bass, may catch yellow perch. Could catch a muskie. I don't know if there's muskie in this lake or not. Not a very big lake. I don't know much about muskie, so I definitely wouldn't have a clue whether there's a muskie in here or not. Those of y'all that muskie fish probably say, "Are you kidding me, Jimmy? There's not going to be a muskie in that lake." Whoa, where's the bass? He come darting at that thing like he'd never seen a red man spinnerbait before in his life, and that's because he hadn't. And he missed it. And he's looking around. He's just like looking around. I dropped it back down there and he bit it. About a pound. Oh my goodness. That's funny. That means they're pretty aggressive, don't it? Oh, nice bass. Well, I saw him come out there and get it. That was beauty. I mean, that was a beauty. Spinnerbait day today. Bright bluebird skies, but we have a wind. Oh, that's a chunk. That's a chunk right there. We have a wind. Got a red man spinnerbait on. Y'all are familiar with the red man bait. Some of you that have been with us for a long time on Jimmy Houston Outdoors. Some of you that's been with us all 46 years. I got to retie. Jimmy Houston Outdoors. This is a red man spinnerbait. We used it years and years ago. We brought this bait back. It's on the market again. You can order them at jimmyhouston.com or luckystrike.com. Blue and chartreuse, one of my favorite baits. I caught a ton of them on there. One day, Ricky Green and I had picked up a shad, and I was looking at the shad, looking at all the different colors, and I saw some red shimmering, and I saw blue. I said, look at that blue shimmering on that. And they had just come out with, not too long before that, chartreuse, fluorescent yellow. Chartreuse, and that was a popular color. We was catching a lot of fish on it. And so I told Ricky, I said, what if we take a blue and chartreuse skirt? Well, they didn't make them. So we took a chartreuse skirt and a blue skirt, put them together and put it on there and started hammering them. I'm talking about hammering on it. I mean, we were smoking them. I mean, just absolutely smoking them. And so it became one of my favorite colors now also. And we've got blue and chartreuse and a red man spinnerbait. I actually won two BASS Angler of the Year titles on this red man spinnerbait. And in both years, I probably caught, well, the first year I won it, first time I won it, I probably caught 70% of all the bass I caught that year on a red man spinnerbait. Now, the next one, I caught a lot of them on a red man spinnerbait, but I also switched up to big spinnerbaits, a bigger spinnerbait, and I'd put a big willow leaf blade, a big number 7 willow leaf blade. And I had a tandem rig spinnerbait that I rigged up that had an offset shaft, and I caught a lot of big ones on that bait that year too. Nobody else had that bait. I mean, it was a bait that I had, nobody else had. And I caught a lot of big ones on that. That's a bass. Yeah. Yep. I caught a walleye, I caught a pike, I caught a bass. That's the bass. When I got out of the pike, I got out of the bass. That's like the smallest one I caught right there. Well, I might have caught one crazy one I caught was smaller than that. God, he ate that red man spinnerbait though. Golly. Pretty nice little fish right there. Nothing wrong with you, baby. Nothing wrong with you at all. Pull my dress down on my red man. This thing is almost, the paint's almost totally gone off of it. It's caught so many bass, so many bass. I kind of hope it does break so I can put on a brand new one. Got him. Bent those hooks up, made a difference. If I can get him out of there. He busted something up in there. I've only got 20-pound test line on here. I got him though. It's because he's not a giant. Not a 4 or 5 pounder, but boy, that's a beautiful northern bass right there. Look at that bass. Golly. Look how barely I got him. Look how barely. And get that out of the way and show you something right here. Look at that. That's just how I barely got him. That's just how close he was to getting off. No way would I got that fish had I not bent those hooks out. That's a beauty. The one I lost a second ago was a lot bigger than that. Probably at least twice that size. When I said I bent those hooks out, I took my pliers. And got a hold of them down in here. Opened that up a little bit, both sides. Opened it up just a little bit. They'll also hang in the grass. You bring your fingers across there, see both of them will hang. So you can hang right there, you don't get them all the way across. I saw that fish come up and break it on something back there. Come out of there, big boy. Woohoo! I got that one out of there. Boy, opening those hooks up has made a difference. Look at there, he just hooked with one hook, but he's hooked good. That was hooked good. That was not going to get away. That was like about a third of the size of that one that broke my line a minute ago. I've only got 20-pound test line on that worm rod. I need 50 or 65-pound braid on this frog because it won't stretch. So when you set the hook, you have no stretch. You're driving that hook right in. And I also need 50-pound braid on my backup bait. That way when you get a big 5 or 6 pounder like I had back there, you just horse him out of there. I mean, that's what you do. You just horse him out there. The line size is critical. And I'm just don't have enough. And I don't have any braid with me. I can't believe I just don't have. I got 20-pound test lines, the biggest this guy I've got. Got that one out of there. Got that one out of there, by golly. Better power pole down before I go 100 miles. In there, power pole down. Woo! They're just nice chunks. Go tell that 5-pounder how good that sugar was there, baby doll. Now, those fish are not very far back in. I think they're coming out toward the edge. That's 2 or 3. My last 2 or 3 have been actually pretty close to the edge. He come up there and ate it. Power pole down. Look at him in that clear water. I mean, they're beautiful. Oh, nice fish. Well, I throwed my worm. I flipped my worm a while and got one bite and lost him. Finally picked my frog back up and bingo. Another nice bass. The reason I power pole down in these spots is a lot of times there's 3 or 4 around in an area, kind of a little bunch of them in an area. So you want to just kind of power pole down when you catch one. As soon as you catch one, and make several more throws in that area right there, because there might be 2 or 3 more fish right here close by. Oftentimes, now they're not schooled up, I'm not saying that, but oftentimes there'll be several fish in one little area for some reason. There might be more crawfish in there, might be more bait fish, more bluegill, something for them to eat. Might be some reason why a bunch of crappie in there feeding on something. You know, you just never know, but sometimes it's that way. Now, obviously, you do it a lot and you don't get another bite, but it's still worthwhile doing. I've been power pole down at a tournament at Grand Lake one time, an FLW tournament, and I throwed I throwed a spinnerbait up there and come by the end of a log, caught about a 4-pounder. Got back there and put it in the live well, power pole down, put it in the live well. Went to pull my power pole up, throwed it at the end of that log again, caught another 4-pounder, put it in the live well and called a fish. Throwed it at that log 4 or 5 more times, never got a bite. I got ready to power pole up and I threw right straight out in front of the boat, caught another 4-pounder. So I caught 3 4-pound fish, called 3 times because I had my power pole down. That fish is still there. That fish is still in that hole. That exact same hole, been there. I missed him twice this morning. Finally get out there and get him, look at that. You know, the only problem, that was a lot bigger fish this morning. Whoa, that was a lot bigger fish this morning. That's a nice one though. There you go. I missed him in that, hooked right through the eye. Hold still. I missed him this morning. I missed him this morning on my frog, and I threw. Oh, you're killing my hand doing that. Oh, quit. He said, how do you think my eye feels, dude? That's a pretty fish right there. That is a pretty bass. This lucky creature bait that I'm fishing with, I just got a little 1/4-ounce sinker on it, rigged it pure Texas style. It wouldn't hurt if I had a toothpick in there where I come back in straight through and stick the point of the hook back in there, come up, scrunch it in a little bit, skin hook it in there where the point's in there, then flip it right down in those holes. It's got a couple of arms on the side of it. It's got that hydra tail back here. And actually, when you pull that thing, it wiggles like crazy. When it drops, it goes down just like pinchers. When they throw the pinchers out, when a crawfish falls, he throws his pinchers out and doesn't wiggle. Goes down trying to be undetected. That's exactly what this one does. That fish was in that hole, and I missed him twice this morning. I had him hooked. There he is. Come here, guy. Come here. That's a big one there. Yeah, that's a big one there. That's a big one there. 5-pounder. Woo-hoo-hoo, there's a 5-pounder there, boys and girls. As slow as it was, put that lucky creature in there, and look at that, man. That is a big fish right there. That is a beauty. That is a beauty. Man, look at that thing. I'm telling you, that lucky creature, green pepper, man, that's a 5-pounder, well over 5 pounds, 5.5 probably. Woo, that made my day right there. That made my day. They'll quit hitting that frog up in the middle of the day. It's 4:48, almost 5 o'clock. I was getting ready to go to a different lake. Dummy, dummy, dummy. Here's your sign. Stay in this one right here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Woo-hoo. I just flipping that little crawl. I keep calling it a crawl. That's kind of what it is, an imitation crawl. The one that broke my line earlier was bigger than that, I bet. Hard to tell, you know. Once they get down there and start running through those pads, they got the pad stalks to help break that line. And I was really leaning on him. Of course, I was leaning on that one too. That's what you got to do, is lean on them. You don't have any chance to get them out of there if you don't. Not a big one, but I got him. Been a long time. Pretty nice one though. A long time since I've had a bite. I mean, a long time since I've had a bite. Finally got one to blow up on that. Boy, I hooked that one too, buddy. That's the way I like to do it. That's the way I like it. Yeah. I knew he wasn't a big one, but whew. I know it probably seems like I'm catching a lot of fish, but that's only about 15 bass is all that is today. And I mean, I've really worked hard at it. And I've had 2 giants on so far. One of them broke my line, got down in that. This is my last creature. I may have another pack, I don't know. Try to get one more fish out of it if that's possible. He blew up on that frog. I got that thing back, lucky creature back down in there, and boom. That's what a great backup bait that is. What are you talking about, Lucille? And only a few stumps, the bass are probably going to be on the stumps. You had a lake that had a lot of stumps and only a few logs are going to be on the logs. A lot of grass, a few rocks. Now look for the differences, look for things that are different. Now, you take a lake like we fished today, basically it's completely covered with lily pads all along the bank. There's no bank that's not covered with lily pads. So you have to start looking for differences. So as soon as you get a bite or you catch a fish, you look and note what's around that area. And then when you catch another one, and pretty soon you're going to find some differences in there. Now another thing that you want to do, now we caught fish on spinnerbait early this morning, then they just quit biting it. We switched over to a frog where we could talk them up out of these lily pads. And then we hit some periods of time, and you know, if you happen to watch this whole show, you'll notice we caught a lot of fish. Then we had to switch up and use our backup bait, which is a lucky creature. This is what this is right here. And we use a lucky creature when we miss a fish on a frog. We'll put that lucky creature right back in there behind it and catch it. But then we hit a period of time, 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, could not get a bite. Could not get a bite. So we found the areas where we found a little bit of difference in the water, and the differences was that it came out and dropped off a little bit quicker. That little bit quicker drop off seemed to hold fish. There's certain areas where we caught them, and every time we go back and we get a bite. So now we're just simply concentrating on those areas, looking for that little different area there, and putting that worm right down in front of them. It seems like when they're not biting, they just have to drop it right on their head. Differences, that's the key to catching fish. Certain areas where we caught them, and every time we go back and we get a bite. So now we're just simply concentrating on those areas, looking for that little different area there, and putting that worm right down in front of them. It seems like when they're not biting, they just have to drop it right on their head. Differences, that's the key to catching fish.